Let's be honest for a second. We talk a lot about rejection. We talk about how much it hurts when someone says no to us. But psychology tells us there is actually something far more painful than rejection. It's the feeling of being accepted, but only after someone else was chosen first. It is the feeling of being the backup plan, the second option, the placeholder. If you have gone through life feeling like you were never the favorite, never the priority, and never the first call someone makes when they have good news, this does something to you. It changes you. It's not just about hurt feelings. This experience actually rewires how your brain processes relationships. It shapes your mind, not just your personality. In this video, we are going to break down exactly what happens to a person who grows up feeling replaceable. We are going to look at 6 specific psychological shifts that happen when you are never the number one. If you find yourself nodding along to this, stay with me until the end, because once you understand the pattern, you stop blaming yourself for it. The first major shift is something called hyperawareness of social signals. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like something was off? Maybe the energy shifted or someone's tone was just a fraction sharper than usual? Most people wouldn't notice that, but you do. You notice everything. Psychology calls this rejection sensitivity, but I don't love that term because it makes it sound like a weakness. It's actually a survival skill. When you were used to being the second choice, your brain learns that attention and love are unstable. You learn that being ignored usually happens quietly. Nobody announces they are losing interest in you, they just slowly drift away. So your brain adapts. You become extremely good at reading microexpressions. You analyze pauses in text messages. You watch for tiny changes in behavior. You aren't doing this because you are crazy or insecure. You're doing it because your brain is trying to predict the pain before it happens. You sense the distance before the other person even admits it to themselves. You are trying to protect yourself from the shock of being let down again. This leads us to the second trait, aggressive independence. There is a fascinating concept in developmental psychology. It shows that when emotional support is inconsistent, meaning sometimes it's there, but usually it isn't, the brain adapts by switching to self-reliance mode. If you were never the priority, you probably learned a hard lesson very early on. If I want it done right, or if I want to be safe, I have to do it myself. You stop expecting to be rescued. You stop looking for reassurance. You stop asking for validation. To the outside world, you look strong. You look like you have it all together. You handle your own pain. You solved your own problems, and you celebrate your wins quietly. But here's the truth. You don't hate help. You actually crave it. You just don't trust it. Deep down, you believe that if you lean on someone, they will eventually step away and you'll fall. So you build a fortress where you don't need anyone, because if you don't need them, they can't hurt you by choosing someone else. Now, this third point is heartbreaking, and it's very common. It is overgiving in relationships. Attachment psychology explains this so clearly. When you grow up feeling replaceable, you often try to make yourself irreplaceable. You become the most helpful friend, the most understanding partner, the employee who never says no. You give more time and more energy and more forgiveness than you ever receive in return. Why do you do this? It's not because you are weak, it's because you learned that love feels conditional. You feel like you have to earn your spot in someone's life. There is a subconscious logic running in your mind that says, if I'm useful enough, maybe they won't leave. If I fix their problems, maybe they will finally prioritize me. You are trying to secure your safety by being valuable. But the sad reality is this usually leads to burnout, not connection. This brings us to number 4, a deep fear of being temporary. Psychology links repeated emotional neglect to a subtle toxic belief: I can be replaced at any time. This isn't just about low self-esteem, it is a fundamental lack of security. When you feel temporary, you act differently. You might downplay your own needs. You might avoid conflict at all costs. You accept less than you deserve because you don't want to be difficult. You think, if I complain, they will just find someone easier. You don't fear loneliness. You are used to being alone. What you fear is being swapped. You fear that feeling of being quietly traded in for a newer, shinier, or better model. So you make yourself small, hoping that if you don't take up too much space, they will let you stay. However, it is not all negative. There is a hidden power here. Number 5 is emotional strength that others don't notice. Research on resilience is really interesting. It shows that people who face chronic social exclusion often develop incredibly high emotional endurance. Think about what you have survived. You have learned to handle disappointment without breaking down. You know how to stay calm when plans fall apart. You don't panic when people leave because you've seen it before. You have calluses on your heart. While other people might crumble the moment they aren't the center of attention, you keep going. Your strength isn't loud. You don't scream for attention. Your strength is silent. It is the ability to endure. You're the rock for everyone else, even if, sadly, no one is the rock for you. Finally, number 6, this is how you love. You value loyalty more than affection. Psychology shows that when affection feels unstable, the brain stops caring about the highs and starts prioritizing the baseline. You don't care about the big romantic gestures. You don't care about the fireworks or the excitement. You care about consistency. You want the person who shows up when they say they will. You want the friend who calls you back. You want safety, honesty, and effort. To you, being chosen once doesn't mean anything. Being chosen every single day means everything. You are done chasing people. You're just looking for the one person who stays. Listen, if this video felt uncomfortably accurate, I want you to know something. You are not imagining it, and you are not broken. Your brain adapted to the environment you were in. You learned to survive as the second choice. But just because you learned to survive that way doesn't mean you have to live that way forever. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to breaking them. You deserve to be the priority. You deserve to be the first call. We talk about human behavior on this channel the way psychology actually sees it, not the way social media romanticizes it. If you want to understand yourself better than anyone else ever has, click that subscribe button. Let's figure this out together. See you in the next one.